Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Chameleon Academy live session, Chameleons and Coffee. And yes, I had to get my coffee. And sorry, let's see, I was a minute or two minutes late because I actually brewed this morning, had to heat it up. So that's my excuse, and that's all I got. So, all right, well, let's just see. Oh, we got all sorts of, hey, Nate, Joanne. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. So we're talking about the Luminize from Arcadia. And Joanne's asking about the Exoterra's LED UVB. Joanne, actually, I'm supposed to be getting one of those to try it out, but haven't heard anything yet. So, hey, James, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, good afternoon, except you know what happened to that rain that left you? Well, it's pummeling me now. For those who don't know, I am south of James for a couple hundred miles. And so what he's complaining about 2 days ago, I get hit with 2 days later. Let's see. Okay, we're getting down to everything. Oh, James says, don't feel bad, Bill. We're getting hammered again, too. Got 2.5 inches. Oh, that just means I'm going to be getting it, too. Oh, my goodness. Oh, hello, Lori. Stephanie. Wonderful. Okay. My Starbucks coffee order is a Trenta iced coffee, no classic, 3 Splenda light ice. All right. I'm with you on the iced coffee. I do get the classic sweetener, but no cream, milk, or any of that kind of stuff. Here's the wonderful question. Hey, Bill, how many chameleons do you have? Lots. I don't have a number. I have not kept track, and I frequently have babies, and they just mess everything up, and then I forget to count again. So, but speaking of babies, you know what we've got to do? Every live session, we got to check the Brevicorn eggs. There they are. Still looking good. Obviously, I'm nervous about always nervous about eggs, especially when I'm doing it publicly, because what if they don't hatch? Then I look like a fool doing this. But they're looking good. So I'm hopeful. Gosh, trying to see if I see any sweating. Nope. So, but that's going to be exciting. I'm getting their digs ready, so they can be all in nice individual cages raised up. And so that is what is in my future. Let's see. Precious Candy has a question. How would you, I like that quick question. These are never quick. Not when you ask me. I end up talking on and on and on and on. How would you get a hatchling chameleon to eat their fruit flies? We only have successfully gotten them to eat one about 4 hours after they hatched. All right, Precious Candy. There is something that is wrong. So it has nothing to do with the fruit flies. Well, at least, obviously, I don't know the situation, so I'm making assumptions with the best of my experience. So if I assume something incorrectly, you can correct me down there. But I'm just going to go ahead and work with the scenario that I've seen often. So when a baby doesn't eat, there's something going wrong outside of just the baby eating. Because babies are just eating machines. That is their one job in life. Eat and don't be eaten. And for 6-9 months, that is all they do. You go into the Kaluma, that's 2 years that's all they do. And so if they're not chowing down every opportunity, you got to look into what's going on. Now, once, that's the easy preface, and everybody's saying, yeah, well, that's obvious. I know. But you got to start there, because at this point in the conversation, it just goes off in so many different directions that it'll take forever to go through all the possibilities. But look into the temperature. Are they warm enough? Are they lethargic during the day? Especially with hatchling chameleons and these people that buy eggs. This is something that happens often. Something happens during incubation, and the baby hatches weak. And if they hatch weak, there's something wrong with them. They may not eat. So you could have absolutely perfect husbandry, but because of how they hatched, they just don't thrive. And this is very common with egg sales. You get everybody, people online saying, "Oh, look at this beautiful panther chameleon." Well, that's because so many people had their panther chameleons from these purchased eggs. Just and even experienced people have the have 50-50. So it could be something in incubation. If they were born weak, that's a problem. If the temperature is too low, could be a problem. So you got to look for other clues as to what is going on. What about their environment? If it's something that happened in the incubation, they hatched weak, then there's nothing you can do about it. But we're going to put that aside because we just, this isn't a thing where we're just going to accept that so we don't do anything. Let's assume, put that aside, and let's assume that there's something in the husbandry. And so do your best to look at the husband, you look at the care guides and say, okay, what is different? Because it could be anything. See, that's the thing. It could be anything. So take a look, Chameleon Academy, start there with the care guide for panther chameleons and just take a look at all the parameters and see what doesn't fit. And if it doesn't fit exactly to my care guide, that doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean that's the problem, but it narrows things down. And right now, that's what you need, is to narrow down what the possibilities are. Okay. Let's see. Okay, well, let's see. I'll get back there. They've drank water off the leaves so far that we've seen. Do you have them together? First of all, I'd separate them if you have them together. That's cohabitation stress is not a thing to joke about. Go ahead, separate them if they are together. Drinking water off leaves is a good sign. Okay, my panther Luigi constantly scratches on the sides of his vivarium wanting to get out. Once I take him out, he settles right down, falls asleep. Temp and humidity are good, light are good. All right, and chameleons wanting to be out of their vivarium. And once again, I'm working with the very little information I have here. So I'm going to be talking in generalities, and you pick out what applies to your situation. Chameleons wanting to get out of their vivarium is a huge red flag that there's something wrong with the vivarium. You should be able to forget to close the door of your vivarium, and your chameleon will still be in there 3 days later. That is the sign of a good vivarium. Now, and just because your chameleon wants to wander doesn't mean you have a bad vivarium. But if you've got, panther chameleons in the wild are all over the place exploring. So it's not a hard, fast test. But there have been times where I've forgotten I've left the door open, and I assume the worst and come back. They're still there. They don't want to go anywhere. So that's really what you want to go for. So look at your husbandry. The number one thing that the most common thing for people to miss in a vivarium is a place for a chameleon to feel safe. And that's a big plant, something they can hide behind. And this is just important for the mental well-being of the chameleon, because they're prey animals. They're predators, but they're also prey animals, and they don't have anything to defend themselves with. So not being seen is their number one defense. Even if your chameleon is confident enough to sit up on a branch and survey the entire area, your chameleon knows that if they don't have a place that they can retreat to, they're vulnerable. And we know that they're safe in their cage, but they don't. So making sure that they have a place that they can retreat to, meaning they can perch behind a plant and be completely concealed. That is security for a chameleon. And so security, I call that the security gradient, exposure gradient, is the number one thing that people miss when they're putting together their chameleon cage. Now, after I take him out, he settles right down, falls asleep. Yeah, I'm concerned about a lot of that. So you're going to have to look at your terrarium. If you want to send me a picture or a number of pictures of your chameleon and the terrarium, vivarium, to bill@chameleonacademy.com, I often do reviews as long as I could do it publicly, as long as I can put it on make a video out of it so other people can learn from it. Now, I don't have to use your name, so you can do it completely anonymously. But if any of you want me, would offer up your cage to be publicly reviewed on one of the weekly vlogs. I do a daily vlog on weekdays. Then send it to me, bill@chameleonacademy.com. And if it's a cage that I say, hey, I can really demonstrate chameleon husbandry using this as an example, then I make a video out of it. Now, there are some ones that are given to me that just don't have that educational value to it. And so I don't use all of them, but that is a way that I might evaluate your particular situation. If you send it to me, take a look at that. Let's see. Nick, is at a reptile expo today. All right. Well, Nick, definitely let us know what's going on there. Roxanne's trying to keep up. Yeah, I know what you mean. Eric, thank you very much for the super sticker. I appreciate the support. I always appreciate when the support of the live streams. And there's always Patrick, who is chronically enthusiastic about life and being here. Good to have you, Patrick. Please continue being enthusiastic. Let's see. All right. There's James. I forgot to close the doors last night after feeding everyone. It's exactly where I left them. Yeah, that is the wonderful thing about having a great a cage. And hello, Richard from San Bruno. And is that an alocasia in the enclosure behind you? If so, what type, and does it do well in a chameleon enclosure? That is absolutely an alocation. That's Alocasia rubra. I believe it's rubra. And it is doing incredibly well. Now, the one thing that I'm annoyed with is that it has an absolutely amazing leaf, and all you can see is the back of it, which is nice because you see the red, that big red splotch. That is an absolutely huge leaf, and it's pointed towards the back of the cage. But then we get to see the underside, which is very, very colorful. But yes, alocasia. I love my alocasias, and working with these custom reptile habitats enclosures has allowed me to garden with alocasias, and it's awesome. And when they get big enough and strong enough, my chameleons will actually use the stalks to climb up. Love them very much. Have you ever used the modular rain zone instead of mist nozzles from Misking? No, I have not. Although I'm not sure if that's the one. There's a Wi-Fi controlled one that I was thinking about trying out. So there's a number of misting system new ones that are on the market. A lot of the overseas stuff is absolute garbage, but every now and then there's some good stuff coming out. So modular rain zone. I will have to take a look at that. My male chameleon eats so much crickets. Is there some problem? Yes, Johanna, there may be a problem. Uh, we have especially if it's a veiled chameleon, uh, but also panther chameleons and Jackson's chameleons. Any chameleon can get obese, but veiled chameleons just cannot stop themselves, and they will just eat and eat and eat, and they get just huge and massive. Their cask starts bulging, and this is a health issue. Now with males, it's just okay. It's the same problems with overweight that we humans have. And so you just put them on a diet. With females, though, it becomes life threatening in a more immediate way because when they have too much nutrients, their body starts super producing eggs. And so you get these veiled chameleons that'll have like 100 eggs, which is not absolutely not healthy at all and puts their life in danger. And sometimes the eggs don't even come out. They're all stuck inside, and the female dies from egg binding. So, yes, it is a big problem. It's worth cutting back. If they're a year old, and if I assume he's a veiled chameleon, because other chameleons don't have that problem as much. But let's see. Let me know what species it is. You can put it down somewhere because I'd like to know. If it is a veiled chameleon, then yeah. Cut them down to once they're adult size, you can cut them down to 3 to 5 feeder insects every other day, and that's a healthy amount. I've named my new Nosibe Houdini because he's a fearless escape artist. He is. I'm hoping one day he will love his home and not be searching for the first opportunity to escape. All right. Well, Richard, I do have to say that that's not a hard, fast rule. You will get some chameleons, and at some points in their life, that there is no cage big enough for them. They want to wander. They want to find a female, and it's nothing to do with the way you've set up the enclosure. So panther chameleons, Jackson's chameleons, I've had this happen with, to where, I mean, I had Jackson's chameleon in a 4 foot by 4 foot by 7 foot tall, heavily planted outdoor enclosure. And once he saw a female across my yard, there was no way that I could console him. He was hanging on the side of that huge, heavily planted enclosure, mansion of an enclosure, and he didn't care. He just wanted to go see the female. And panther chameleons, I mean, in Madagascar, you see them crawling all over the place, so they're just rambling away. So it'd be nice if they would calm down and just stay in their cage. But yeah, you may have a rolling stone. Oh, okay. Joanne's using the rain zone. Love it, except for the space it takes up. All right. I will check into this rain zone and figure out what is going on. Can chameleons eat snails? Yes. Yes. In fact, Jackson's chameleons absolutely love snails. And yeah, the only problem is that what we generally like to breed the snails to get them into the first or second generation because supposedly, and I don't know this for sure, I'm not a snail expert, this is what I hear, they are absorbing chemicals, toxins, and all sorts of garbage, and flukes. Trematodes use snails as intermediary hosts, but I don't know that you're going to find any chameleon trematodes in the snails that you're finding. So anyway, those things to consider. But yes, snails are chameleons love snails. I'm sure people are now going to try it, and they're going to have a chameleon that doesn't love snails. Yes, try it. I guess he stays with the door open, but sometimes he'll want out. Usually in the summer months, looking for those ladies. Yes, they do that. And specifically pants. Okay, try it. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with snails, and so if your chameleon will eat them, use them. It's good calcium. Can I use anthurium? I don't know why not. I haven't looked into anthuriums. I haven't had any reports of any problems, but we rarely use it, so I don't know how much we would have reports of it. So I can't advise against or for anthuriums. Uh, if you're asking me personally, if someone gave me an anthurium, I would have no problem putting it in a chameleon cage. But that is different than me sitting here advising people are saying it's safe. So I guess I'll just throw out those data points. Is there a way to age your veiled? I saved him about a year ago, but don't know how old he is. Just because I don't know. Probably not. Chameleon aging, guessing a chameleon's age is very difficult because they grow differently depending upon how they were their first year of life. So, it's once they become sexually mature, it's like really difficult. Now, with some panthers, parsons, stuff, I've been able to tell that they've seen a lot of life. With you, they've got the battle scars, and they just have that old man feel to them. But it'd be very difficult to actually put an age to it. Allocacia silver dragon is a common name, I believe, unless it's a different. I don't think this is silver dragon. The rubra, I don't think is silver dragon. I've got a bunch of others that I believe I have a silver dragon, but when you start getting into those dragons, there's so many different. They've come up with so many different little minute things. So I am relatively new to allocations, and so I will not be an expert in the naming of them. I am just learning as we are going on. So I will. I think I have some sort of dragon in my alocasia incubator. I call it. It's my fog machine. Kramer won't eat. Am I killing him with kindness? Should I just do hospice? What would you do, Bill? Lori, if you've got a chameleon that will no longer eat on their own, the question is it because they feel too sick and the inside is just too broken down? Or is it just their tongue doesn't work? If their tongue doesn't work, that's easy. They just open their mouth and stick their tongue a little bit out and you put something on their tongue. They can live years like that. But if you are force feeding them and it's like they're on assisted living, I think of that, there's a point very soon that you realize you're keeping them alive for you, not them. And, it's a difficult thing for me to just make that decision for someone else. But consider if your chameleon is not able to have a quality of life, then if they can't be a chameleon, then well, that's when a difficult decision can be made, and I make those decisions. I do. Just got a black velvet. I think I got a velvet or dragon breath alocasia. I'm babying it right now. Have to have them grow bigger before placing my enclosures. Yeah, the thing is, I had a bunch and I labeled them all, and those labels just faded. And so now I'm not sure exactly what I got. Let's see. Let's see. All right. People are talking about. All right, everybody. Cicadas are coming out. Grab a few and feed them to your chameleons. Oh man, I would love to be able to have cicadas. I don't know if it's legal for any of you to send me some, but I'd love them. Oh, wait a minute. Somebody has. Howard, thank you very much. Where is that? There we go. Thank you very much, Howard. Really appreciate the support. Howard gave me a super. That's a dude of a super sticker. I appreciate that. Hello, Ranunculus. Yeah, James has got it right. Howard, or listen to James. Oh. Is an Ethereum a type of crypto? No, it's a plant. Uh, it's a plant. I believe that's the one with the bright red leaf-like flower in it. But Ethereum, I actually have Ethereum. You need advice for an RI. Fortaz isn't working. Got amikacin today. Test results not until Monday. So by test results, do you mean you did a bacterial culture test to figure out what kind of bacteria it is? Because for everybody, when you go to the vet and you have a respiratory infection, what they give you is a broad spectrum antibiotic like Baytril or Fortaz, amikacin. These are all ones that affect a lot of bacterias, and they work in most cases, but they're not going to work against a bacteria that isn't affected by, say, Baytril. And so the way if you really want to do it right, you have to take a culture of the bacteria, send it to the lab, and figure out exactly which bacteria it is. And then you can get an antibiotic that's specifically formulated for that bacteria. The problem is that number one, costs money, and that takes time. And depending upon how bad your chameleon is, you don't got time. You don't often have the time, and people often don't want to spend the money. So, Baytril usually works. Fortaz, amikacin usually catch things, but power plants, if your test results, you did a culture, well, then on Monday you are going to know. And that is the most powerful thing, is knowing which bacteria it is, and you'll be able to take care of it at that point, as long as they have an antibiotic that covers it. Everybody's talking about cicadas over there. Oh, Joanne, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Joanne's always great supporter. Thank you. Like this, Bill, my please. What is my please? There was Siri took over there. Is putting words in your mouth. Oh, I get it. Will, where is your coffee? Gosh, you just can't get anything past Howard. Here it is. And no, I am not going to show you inside the cup. You're just going to have to trust me at this point. I've learned my lesson. Is there anything specific within a cage that you would like pictures of for cage reviews? Michael, you can actually go to my vlog on YouTube and take a look at some of the cage reviews that I've done. And look on it. It says community episode or cage review. And what I am looking for is the inside of the cage, a step back, the entire cage. That tells me what the cage kind of looks like and what's around the cage. The top of the cage, so I can tell what lights are there. Ideally, top from the outside of the cage and top from the inside of the cage, and then a picture of your chameleon. And so I have that information as to what chameleon it is, how big they are, that kind of thing. And the more, just take a bunch of pictures. What's the drainage situation like? What's the hydration? The more information you give me, the more accurate I can be in the review. If you just give me a picture and I say, okay, I can do stuff on that, I will make a lot of assumptions and I will give a lot of general information that I think a lot of people would benefit from, but it may or may not be applicable to your situation. If there's something hiding, like there's a light hiding behind another one, and I say, okay, you need white light. So the more information you give me, the better. It's the Me Dog test. I don't know that one. You mentioned something about Wi-Fi misting system. Who makes them? It was something on Amazon. I just ran across it on Amazon. I don't remember the name. No, no, no. Everybody calm down. Calm down. I have the coffee. No need to panic. The world is as it should be. I'm sorry. I am messing with the world's stability. But I just got a Tarantula Collective. You remember he makes tarantula themed coffees, and he just got in Brazilian roast and my I got the care pack, the big package that has like the mug and all that kind of stuff. It comes in for me on Monday, and so I will have that, and I will do a box opening of all the fun stuff on next Saturday. Excuse me, Chameleons and Coffee. Although I will open it beforehand because I want to try the coffee. But then, with all the fun stuff inside, I will open it on air, and so you can see the mug and you can see all the fun stuff that I'm not even sure all the fun stuff that's in there. I didn't check because I want to do it online with you guys. Gosh, oh man, you people are getting there. There we go. Yeah, yeah. Stephanie is a fan of the plants. Fan of the plants. All right, and Eliza Ann's putting together a fog machine. We look forward to seeing pictures of your fog machine. Bill, where's your replacement cup for the one you broke? Right now, I'm using this Illuminati one. I'm going to have to get another replacement one with the Chameleon Academy logo. For those who are new here, this is the Chameleon Academy logo. And I've had a couple of other designs I wanted to play with. So we got some fun stuff going on. All right. So everybody, what is going on this next week for you? Let me know what's up in the chameleon world. I am going to be doing. You're going to be seeing next week. Oh, so everybody, for those who don't know, I do a daily vlog on weekdays, and so if you come to YouTube at 5 a.m., that's when the day starts for us chameleon people. And so every day there's a vlog. Obviously, you don't have to be up at 5 a.m. to watch the vlog. You just go to YouTube and they're all there. There's a vlog playlist. You can start at the beginning and just go through all of them. And they kind of tell a story because it's like this is life. And this is me setting things up. Over there, I talk about the station where I'm going to be talking about screen cages versus hybrid cages. And the Shamrock Chameleons are there. And you hear about this enclosure behind me that I'm setting up. And then I'll be doing the one to the left of me very soon. And in the vlog, you see all this happening day by day. Now, next week, I'm going to be starting a series called Chameleon Fundamentals. And the first episode will go live on Monday. So our vlog time will be Chameleon Fundamentals at 5 a.m. And if you want to be there for the first showing, then there's a live chat that a lot of us, we just start the day with a Chameleon video. And it's really fun to wake up and hang out with people from around the world who want to start off their day with Chameleon goodness. And then sometimes some of us take a nap right afterwards, but then other people get on with the day. It's 5 a.m. Pacific. That's 8 a.m. Eastern. And every now and then we have people from Europe going, "Well, why am I awake?" But that's okay. And so on Monday is going to be the Chameleon Fundamentals. The first one's going to be about the Forest Edge 5+5. That's the checklist that I use when I'm doing cage analysis. And you saw that I used this last week, where I methodically went through this checklist. And my purpose for doing this is when I get these cage reviews in, I wanted to go through the checklist and do the same checklist every time. And before long, if you follow these things, it's going to be second nature to you. And that's what we're going for, to where you just feel how a chameleon cage should be set up. And so that's what's going to, that's the Forest Edge 5+5. It's like I say in the video, it's not a magic incantation. It's just a simple checklist. And it's a memory device for how do we remember to check all the boxes. And I'm going to go over the Forest Edge 5+5 in detail in Monday's video. And some people who have been around for a while say, hey, Bill, wait a minute. Wasn't that the Forest Edge 4+4? In 2020, it was. But I have learned that there are some things that needed to be added to make it, because before I said basking branch was for heat and UVB. So many times we actually break that up into two separate areas, and chameleons allow us to do that. They understand heat, they understand UVB, and they will bask in those separately. And so we're kind of lucky that way. So I said, okay, I got to separate those out. And then for the gradients, because Forest Edge and the 5 gradients and the 5 functional branches or branch functions, with the gradients, I had to add in white light, because I realized that's not a given. People don't know right off, just assume that there's white light. And the reason is because you see light coming off of the heat lamp, you see light coming off the UVB light. And so it's not immediately obvious that you also need a white light. So it ended up being the Forest Edge 5+5, and I'm a lot happier with it. So let's see. Steve's here. Hey. All right. Nate is getting his Honelli enclosure to set a date. We do want to see date. Nate, I definitely want to see your enclosure. All right. So Monday is going to be, I got to do that every now and then and check the chat so I don't get too far behind. But that's going to be Monday. And then Tuesday is, I think it's going to be the community day, to where either I do a cage review or else I talk about something that affects the community. And I'm having to break these things up because I don't want to I want to spread things out. I don't want to do too much, like overload and do 1 week all of cage reviews. So this is going to force me to spread things out. Wednesday is going to be the DIY Chameleon guys. That's the show that I do at James Cross. That is every Wednesday at 5 a.m. Pacific. Thursday is going to be a product review. I'm going to be talking about products and do reviews and how to use them and that kind of thing. And then Friday is just going to be whatever Chameleon Appreciation Day. That's what that's going to be. So we have, so that's going to be, that's every day. So every weekday at 5 a.m. Oh, wait a minute. Tomorrow, Easter, you still going to do your 5 p.m. Fruit Fly Super Guy live? Yes, Howard. I will be, I know it's Easter, but I will be doing the 5 p.m. Fruit Fly Chameleon Chore Night. The thing about the Chameleon Chore Night is it really wasn't meant to be a show. It was just meant to be a way to keep me on schedule, to make sure I do it every day, every week. And so even if one person shows up, I'll do it and I'll just hang out. And that one person will watch me put together fruit flies while I pontificate about various chameleon topics. So yes, I will be live tomorrow, even though it's Easter, at 5 p.m. Pacific. And anybody who is tired of Easter or is recovering from Easter brunch can join me as well and say hello. So organized, yay! Yes, yes, and yeah, make sure I get things. There is so much. Thing is, with the vlog is great because it gives me an opportunity to talk about everything that's on my mind. But I start to get this overload of things that all want to be pushed through, and this allows me to say, okay, you don't have to do it this week. You can do it next week, and we'll just get through it. We'll get through it all. Oh, Tia's here. Hello, Tia from Finland, and you're going to be seeing next January. We'll all be seeing a lot of Tia because she's going to be in Madagascar with me, and anybody who's in Madagascar with me is going to end up being on Instagram and YouTube a lot because I'll be there. Oh, so. Okay, so information as to what's going on here. Let's see. Can you see Steinman? Let's see. Where is Steinman? Oh, yeah. Steinman is, I don't know if you're able to see, but if you look under the heat lamp, let's see if I get down. I'm going to get out of the, let's see if we can get the focus up there. So if you look under the heat lamp, you'll see a Machacos Hills Jackson's Chameleon. That is Steinman. And that is named after Jim Steinman, who is, in my opinion, one of the greatest composers, lyricists of our age. And thus he has been named after Jim Steinman. And he is, he's on the move. So you can see him moving now. I am experimenting with whether I want him to be the chameleon that's going to stay in that enclosure. For those who don't know, that enclosure is going to have a chameleon, a Eurypletus fantasticus gecko, and a dart frog. The challenge with the carpet chameleon is just that they need to warm up during the day. And so I can, both the Eurypletus fantasticus and the, here, I'll get back up so you can see me. And the dart frog want to be in the low 70s. And so I'll want a chameleon that wants to be in the low 70s. And luckily that's most chameleons. But I will have to have a warm up for some of the chameleons. And so for like an hour in the morning, I will have a heat lamp on. But I will have to shut it off because I don't want the cage to get too warm in there. Now, the one consideration is the nighttime drop for the Jackson's Chameleon. They do want a nighttime drop. The dart frog, on the other hand, doesn't necessarily want to go below the mid 60s. So I will be having to evaluate the compromise there. Carpet chameleons are not famous for needing the nighttime drop. I know that it would be good for them. It's just the reason why Jackson's chameleons are so famous for it is if they don't get it, they tend to degrade in their health. But haven't heard of that about carpet chameleons yet. So I'm right now, this is a test. I'm testing to make sure that it all will work, and I'm getting my experience in, seeing how he likes it, and really, and this is going to be important, and I'm going to drive this home every time I talk about it. Whenever you have an enclosure where you want to have more than one living organism, I will always be observing and balancing out the environmental parameters to make sure that everyone in there is happy. So it'll be fun, but it's a lot of effort, and that's why I don't want to be cavalier about putting more than one species into an enclosure. Now, I'm not going to be putting any other chameleon. I'm not going to double up on chameleons. You know how I feel about cohabitations of chameleons. But even though I'm doing like a gecko and a frog and a chameleon, that's still, every one of those has to have their ideal conditions. Whew. Uh, let's see. Team Daisy. How's she doing? If I remember right, she was dealing with parasites. Annabelle, she has a very strange, she has just really like rubbed off by the side of her mouth. And I don't know how she got it. It doesn't look to be like some raging infection because I look on the inside and her dental arcade is fine. So it looks like it was a physical trauma. And I don't know what she did. So as far as dealing with parasites, yeah, we're still dealing with it, but she's I think that I'll be able to get her parasite free. Yeah. Steve, I just saw that, and I'm very sad to hear that. Is very sorry about that. Yeah, Steve's Triceratops cristatus passed away, and we have so few Triceratops cristatus here in the United States. It's a real shame. If ever we get another shipment in, which they are legal to ship in, so who knows? I'm encouraged because I know there's enough people who would be dedicated to it that we'd have a pretty good solid group going. We just have to wait till they come in again. That may not. I don't know when that's going to happen. I have had my house go down to 55 to 60 degrees at night, and my dart frogs have always been fine. That's great news. That's great news. Yeah, and I don't, and really, I've just seen mid 60s as dart frogs. I haven't asked specifically about species, so I don't know what Azurius can handle. And obviously, I have some very experienced contacts that I can ask that, but that's good information to know. Thank you very much. I'd love to. Yeah, I suspect they'll be fine because I won't go as low as even if I do it just to the low 60s, I still think that that should be fine for the Jacksons and for everybody in there. And this enclosure is in. I've made it a point that every animal that is in the Chameleon Academy studio, that's this room here, will be okay with cooler temperatures. So I don't have any panthers or veils. Actually, veils, the thing is they want a warm up. They want a heat lamp warm up. Whereas, carpets do too. So that's a departure. But things like O'Shaughnessy, Shamrock Chameleon, they do appreciate a warm up, but definitely not like panthers do. So sometimes, you really don't have to worry too much about them. Um, so Roxanne says, I need a new enclosure. Well, Dragon Strand enclosures are in stock. I'll say that. I got, and that's actually good news for those who followed the Dragon Strand Chameleon Caging Company. That's a caging company I started in 2013. And it's one of those where these are all handmade in the United States, not by me personally, but by a team that has been creating chameleon cages for a couple of decades. Their screen cage was the one that ZoomEd sent over to China and said, here, copy this. So they've been around for a while. And we have finally gotten to the point where we've gotten manufacturing to where now they're in stock. Our cage, we were able to get the cages in stock now. And so, people often had to wait for a month or even two, but we've gotten a lot of the manufacturing in-house, and now we are able to start building back that our our clientele. Oh, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. Hello, Ty. That's right. Ty is going to be hanging out uh, with James and Tia and Annabelle in Madagascar. Hey, Missy Mountain fans. That's my wife, my Yvette. Daniel says, I have my cage in front of a backyard window. I have dogs too. Is this causing my panther stress? There's a decent amount of plants for him to retreat from the window to hide away in. Well, Daniel, the best way to evaluate this is just to see how he reacts when the dogs come by. And if he freaks out, then that's probably a little too much stress. If he just freezes and watches the dogs, that's probably just the right amount of stress because uh, little bits, spikes of stress are not a bad thing. It keeps the body moving and excited, and just a little spike of adrenaline here and there is not a bad thing. So we don't want to take stress completely out of our chameleons' lives, and we have to understand that there's a difference between a stress spike and constant low grade stress that the chameleon can't get away from. It's that constant low grade stress that kills chameleons. The stress spike, they are designed to handle those. So when a hawk flies overhead, I dare say that's enrichment. Now, the hawk coming down and eating the chameleon, that's not enrichment. That's gone too far. But just a hawk flying overhead that keeps the chameleon alert. That, whenever we living things are inside of a room or a cage and there's nothing going on, our mind atrophies. And so I am not going to say that dogs outside of the window are a bad thing, even if your chameleon reacts to them. But you need to be the judge as to how much they react to them. There's no line drawn in the sand as this is healthy stress, this is unhealthy stress. But me personally, if the chameleon just kind of freezes and kind of looks at them when they walk by, I think that's a healthy amount of stress. If he just totally freaks out and just runs away to another side of his cage, that's a little too much, in my opinion. So I wouldn't say that just because you have your panther chameleon being able to see the dogs, I don't think that in itself does not tell me that it's a bad situation. So and this is why I love the live situations, because I can just talk. I would not be able to write that in a comment. So definitely, I'm glad you all using this opportunity to ask questions. Yeah. Yay! Yes, Joanne. Everybody, hit the like button, please. Yes. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you for the reminder. All right, looks like everybody's going to be meeting me in Paris because apparently I got a strange flight that nobody else is able to get, which is unfortunate, but oh well, we'll meet in Paris. You need a 2x2x4 that is collapsible, that snaps into place when erected, but folds on itself to minimize shipping costs. Okay. I know somebody's had something like that out there. The thing is, there is a balance between designing for shipping and designing for ease of assembly and designing for longevity of the actual cage. And these are all features. Everyone has to design for shipping. And if you don't, then there's damage. And Dragon Strand cages, you'll find, are one of the best packed. We have like 250-pound boxes, I think. And the dimensions of our the cages is specifically made so everything can sit as a single piece. So we put a lot of thought into the shipping. And then we put all of our effort into the cage once it's together. And so our cage does take a bit of assembly, but once it's together, it's pretty solid. I know a number of companies have tried to get clever and make it easier to assemble. But the thing is, when they do that, they start compromising the long term effectiveness of the cage. And like anybody who's done product, everything's a balance, and you just choose what you want to market on. Yeah. So, so having them in a slightly higher traffic room besides my basement office may be okay. Yeah, yeah. It all depends, and it all depends on how they're set up. If they are set up next to a door, if they are set up, worst case scenario, they are on the floor and then they are by a door, and so they never know when the door is going to open, and all of a sudden this big creature is going to be there and sneak up on them. That's a high stress situation that will probably stress them out and shorten their lives. On the other scenario, they are in a high traffic room, but they are in the corner of the room, so they can see people coming from a little ways away. They are raised up, and so they are actually above all of the activity that's going on in the room. In that case, no problem at all. They'll just watch all of these animals lumber under them, and they'll just say, all I got to do is stay still and that thing won't see me. Okay, now we'll get on with life. So same room, two different placements, two different heights makes all the difference in the world. So higher traffic room is not a bad thing. In fact, I did an interview with a teacher who had chameleons in his classroom. And the way to make that work is the chameleon is raised up so it can look down on all of the activity. You can have dogs running all over the place, but if the chameleon is high above looking down, I don't care. But if the chameleon is down on the ground with the dogs at eye level with the dogs, yeah, they're freaked out. So those are ways to make it work. Let's see. Yeah. Debating on moving my panther upstairs, but I worry about the higher traffic stressing them. Yeah. I mean, Annabelle, Eliza, if they can see the traffic coming so it's not a surprise and they can be above it all, no problem. And I say no problem. Obviously, there's limits to me saying no problem, but that's not a huge concern. I had one time where my veiled went from I am a boring branch to I am a chameleon full color, full shape, then it deflated and went normal. Couldn't see any reason. I am going to guess that he saw something. And this something could be anything. It could be a banner across the room that's a certain color that triggered him. With chameleons, you never know. You never know. It could have been something on the inside. I don't know. Hard to tell. And it could be a stretch. I mean, it's amazing what the kind of things the chameleons do when they're trying to like break up this old skin to get ready to shed. They'll puff up and they'll like and go through all these gyrations of their jaw, and that's all to break up the skin. And when people are seeing that for the first time, it's like, well, my poor chameleon's possessed. Oh. Let's see. My babies will be on the floor or near a door. I was thinking a corner in the front room where they can see everything from a distance. Just make sure they don't get surprised by a predator, because then you're tapping into the fight or flight, the very deep thing that taming only works so far. So just try to make it so they're not surprised. How do I say it? I think if they're across the room and they can see you coming and they know you and they're familiar with you, then they're not stressed. If all of a sudden this huge thing appears and their deep lizard brain reacts before their brain can say, no, wait a minute, that's the person who brings me food, well, then I'd say avoid that. So, somebody say hi to Lay. We can't have people feeling so rejected. Here we go. Oh. All right, everybody. We are at the end of our day. I want to thank you very much for coming on by. I will be having my live session tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific. And then on Monday morning at 5 a.m., we're going to start the Chameleon Fundamentals series. And we're going to start off with how to review a chameleon cage, all the checklist, how to make sure you've got a chameleon cage that's appropriate for a chameleon. And if you can go through this checklist and you have a check on all of these, you've got it. So, we'll do one more test, one more question here. Is there a reason my chameleon is eating soil for my plants? Nobody knows. Brooke, this is something, this is called geophagia. And we assume that it's because they are missing some kind of minerals. But when you're fully supplementing your chameleon and they still do it, yeah, we don't know. And so is it okay that they're doing it? Well, we get worried about it because it can, chip their teeth and we don't want them eating dirt. And so we avoid them to do it. But I really don't know. Really don't know what is causing that. So, all right, everybody. Thank you very much for coming on by, and I will see you in the coming days. And definitely, if you want to start off your day with on the right foot, join us at 5 a.m. Pacific just for the 15 minutes it takes for the show. And we have a live chat where we're there saying good morning to each other, saying hello, and it's a lot of fun. So I invite you there. And with that, have a great weekend, and I'll see you later.